Hey there, and good afternoon. This is Manifesting Napoleon Hill Tuesday. This is the introduction to that. And I wanted to do a history or talk about Napoleon Hill and, you know, talk about what he had written and how his books have influenced me. But one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of give you a history of him and how he came to write this and what a successful person he was and the people that he talked to. And my whole vision of this man has been busted. I mean, truly busted. I had done some research. Of course, you get Wikipedia and get some information, but, Wikipedia is given to you by different people. It's a people's encyclopedia. So I wanted to look further. So I found the Napoleon Hill Foundation, right? .org, nahill.org. And I looked at their information and looked at their books, and then I was looking at, because I felt that Think and Grow Rich was in the public domain. I'm shaking a little bit. Trying to use this, what do you want to call it? The selfie stick. So, but just kind of walking around a little bit because I've been sitting for a while. Anyway, so, and then what I'm realizing is that we're backwards. So Catalina is showing backwards here. Hopefully, somehow I can flip the screen and it'll be forwards again. Anyhow, but what I wanted to tell you is I really got my whole world kind of busted on this Napoleon Hill information. It was like, really? The man was a shyster. He was a huckster. He was worse than, okay, I'm going to say this, Trump. And the things that he did, he created in this autobiography or this information. This guy, the article I read, and I'll put the link to the article in the description area below, because I want you to read the whole thing. I mean, this was an investigative reporter who did this background on Hill. The man had multiple magazines that went under. He had went into the lumber business and started selling the lumber that he got from these honest distributors for less than he paid for it, and he pocketed the money and left his investors in the hole. Does that sound familiar? He had all these magazines that he kept touting. He was married at least got my glasses in my hand, but 5 times. The man was married 5 times. And the first time it was shotgun wedding, even though he claimed it wasn't his child, and they got an annulment. And each time he married for money. And he was always constantly borrowing money from his wife's families. And I mean, this whole story just was like, really? And in his book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about how he interviewed all these rich people, especially, Carnegie. Carnegie was U.S. Steel's guy. He started that. And he was really rich. This guy was truly rich. And how he had impressed Hill to do this journey for no pay, but to interview all these famous people. Also in Hill's story, He claims to have been an advisor to Roosevelt um, during the war, and he's the one that came up that all we need to fear itself. It was his idea. Okay, and then how he just worked with these people, and oh, the picture with him and Edison. Well, he was given these awards, these, what is it, golden um, rule awards, because he talked about following the golden rule. And he was given these awards, and one of the awards he gave to Edison after he attended a convention that Edison was doing, and so he got a picture with him giving Edison this award, and it's purported or said that Edison gave the award back. But Napoleon Hill used that picture just to let people know that he was great friends with Edison. That sounds familiar too. And you go, what do you mean sounds familiar? Well, I've had coaches, I've listened to people before, and they tell you to get a picture with all these famous people and put them on your website, and you get collateral by just having a picture with these people. And I go, and you don't really know them, but you were at the event or something, and technically a lot of times you pay to get these pictures done. Anyway, going back to Napoleon Hill, his whole life was one scam after another. I mean, he started a university to teach people how to make cars, to do cars. He started a university, and what he did was have the people go to this car manufacturer, put the cars for him, but they paid for the privilege, and the car dealer, kind of noisy, the car dealer, manufacturer got free labor. He knew nothing about cars. He knew nothing about putting cars together, and the whole university was a scam, and that wasn't his first university or college. I'm just like, really, like, are you kidding me? And I mean, I've read Think and Grow Rich. I've done the class. I still offer the class on the book Think and Grow Rich. It was good, but it was his fourth wife that actually took the information he had and made it logical, and with the information, and helped organize the book, because Napoleon Hill wasn't a really good writer. And there's another set of his works called The Law of Success, which was one of his correspondence courses. And I've been reading it, and I said it was just a lot of conversation. But even though I'm disappointed to know the man died broke, yeah, Napoleon Hill died broke. Funny. His principles still work. I apply them in my life. So I'm still going to do Napoleon Hill Tuesdays. So manifesting Napoleon Hill Tuesdays, I'm still going to do that because his principles actually do work when you follow them. And the logic in the book Think and Grow Rich is really good. And the people who have studied with me, and we've studied the book, and we've done that master class, have done well. But I'm telling you, it just burst my big bubble, because it gave me something else. Let me tell you. It gave me something else. And let me tell you what it gave me as I sit down. Don't believe everything that you hear. Don't believe the hype. In the hype at the Napoleon Hill Foundation, they talk about what a great man he was. But this investigative reporter did the research, and he went all the way back to the early 1900s, from his first marriage all the way through his death. He went to the different towns, he went to the newspapers. Napoleon Hill, you hear some of these old movies about the scammers, the grifters who go from one town to the next, and they're get out of town just before they get arrested. This was Napoleon Hill. He was always going one scheme after another, and we've seen movies about these kinds of people who they had one idea after the next idea, but they were never honest. Let's think about this. He had a lumber company, and he got the lumber, and he could have sold it and had a really good business, but he was all about stealing money. He had the magazines, and he had magazine after magazine, and the magazines could have done well, but most of them were designed to bring him to, what I want to say, make him look like he was really big. Now, Think and Grow Rich was a success. It really was. But he was a spendthrift. He thought, okay, I'm making all this money, I'm getting all these royalties. He bought a Rolls Royce, he bought a big mansion. He and his wife did some things, and guess what? He spent too money. He spent too much money. He lived beyond his means. He lived like a lot of poor people who have lack in their life, and they get a little bit of money, like people who win the lottery and they get money and they're broke within 5 years because they think this is unlimited, and they don't wisely invest and live under their means. By the way, his wife, her name is Rosa, that helped him edit Think and Grow Rich. They had a prenup. Woman was smart. She was smart. They had a prenup. And in that prenup, she got all the rights to Think and Grow Rich. She got the rights to a number of things. And this was to prevent people from coming after him for money he owed, prevent his ex-wife, who had 3 kids by him, from coming to him for the money he owed. He also, in the beginning with this wife, borrowed $300 from a son that still spoke to him. And when they got rich and struck it rich, relatively, with the Think and Grow Rich book, they didn't pay back his son the $300. And they could have easily paid him the money back. So what I thought was going to be research to talk about how Napoleon Hill was this awesome man who was honest, who gave more than a day's pay, for what he did. So he talks about giving more than what you're receiving. So in other words, you do twice as much work, and then eventually you will see success. He didn't follow any of that. None of it. He was just emulating and talking about what other New Thought leaders were talking about. Really bad. But like I said earlier, his words in that book and in the Laws of Success are good rules to live by. And when you apply those things, I mean, it's just logical. He talks about desire, a burning desire to accomplish something, right? A burning desire to be rich. He had this burning desire to be rich, but he didn't follow his own rules. And then when he did get rich, he was a spendthrift. He wanted to act like he had unlimited income, and that didn't happen. So, yes, manifesting Napoleon Hill Tuesdays is still going to happen because, like I said, the principles are good and solid. But we're not going to be following the man himself because the man himself was a failure. And he was a crook. And he was a huckster. He was the, what's the name of the circus? I'll think of it later. But, you know, Barnum and Bailey's circus, right? He was like the circus, giving you what you wanted to hear. But he didn't follow his own rules. And he was constantly getting out of town at the heels of the law on him. He never went to jail, but a lot of people that were associated with him did. And that's not a good thing. So follow me. If you like this video or you were surprised by this video, just make some comments below. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on the information. There's a lot of people out there. In fact, the Napoleon Hill Foundation has a certification course on Napoleon Hill's classes to become a certified Napoleon Hill lecturer. I will not be taking that class. I will not be being a certified Napoleon Hill lecturer. I'm going to take the information from his books that I learned and that I put into my life and that I help others put into their life and pour into them success, because those principles are really good principles. So this is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and I want to thank you for listening today, even though I may have burst your bubble. But go and click on the link below to read the article that I read. It takes a while. It took me about an hour to read it. It is long, and it is detailed, and it is annotated. So enjoy, and I'll see you next Tuesday in the second installment on Manifesting Napoleon Hill Tuesdays. Take care.